Welcome to the Echoes of Atlantis, the Sunken Empire Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into this breathtaking cinematic mystery. We're going to break down the highly emotional storytelling and that absolutely epic atmosphere that forces us to feel the sheer weight of a sunken empire. Let's dive in.
So, what actually happened to the greatest empire of the ancient world? It's the ultimate question, right? Well, to really wrap our heads around why the lost city of Atlantis still totally captivates modern explorers today, we actually have to go back. Before we can feel the tragedy of the fall, we need to understand the sheer majesty of what was lost.
Just picture this for a second. We're talking about a massive, ultra-realistic ancient city completely surrounded by the ocean. At its peak, during its absolute golden age, this place wasn't just a settlement. It was a marvel. Imagine looking down from a wide aerial view at these incredible golden temples and giant statues standing like guardians over the empire. You'd have everyday citizens walking down these beautiful, surprisingly advanced streets, and the architecture completely luxurious, all illuminated by the warm, flickering light of glowing torches. It was a civilization at the absolute top of its game.
And they weren't just confined to their island either. They were absolute masters of the sea. Think about these huge ships sailing across the water, a truly powerful civilization entirely controlling the oceans. But what's really brilliant about how this is framed is that it all happens under a dramatic sunset. It's kind of like visual foreshadowing, you know? The sun is literally setting on their golden age, even as they project absolute, undeniable dominance.
Okay, let's go inside for a moment. Deep inside these grand palaces, the ancient kings and warriors ruled with absolute confidence. The atmosphere around these powerful rulers is deeply mysterious, captured in these incredibly dramatic close-ups. But there's a heavy sense of dramatic irony here. They're sitting there, commanding this unbelievable empire, completely and utterly unaware of the terrifying forces of nature that are about to wake up right beneath them.
But then, the unthinkable happens. It's not just a sudden flash, it's this terrifying, agonizing buildup. Step 1, the tension spikes. Dark storm clouds start rolling in, and lightning violently strikes the ocean. Then comes step 2, the quake. A massive earthquake absolutely shatters the city, collapsing that luxurious architecture into rubble as terrified citizens run for their lives. And finally, step 3 delivers the fatal blow. Giant tsunami waves violently crash right into Atlantis, flooding those beautiful temples and palaces in an overwhelming wave of cinematic destruction. And then it's just over. The crucial emotional shift happens right here. That deafening chaos, the roaring water, it's abruptly replaced by this incredibly haunting silence. We just have to sit there and watch as this once great city slowly, inevitably, sinks beneath the dark ocean waves. The greatest empire in the world, literally swallowed whole. You know, the thing that really gets me is the passage of time here. It's the sheer contrast that makes the mystery hit so hard. On one hand, you have the glory, the warmth of those grand palaces, the golden temples, and the glowing torches we talked about. And on the other hand, the aftermath. Deep, freezing underwater ruins, absolute darkness, and broken pillars. Those giant statues that used to project power are now just glowing ancient relics scattered in the deep. It's a heavy reminder that no matter how magnificent we build things, nature always takes it back. But hey, the story doesn't end there, does it? Fast forward to the modern era, and the narrative completely shifts from tragedy to discovery. We've got modern explorers diving down into those incredibly deep, dangerous waters, pushing through the darkness to find the lost city. It's a highly mysterious, cinematic atmosphere. And when they finally start uncovering the empire's secrets, finding ancient maps, getting those dramatic close-ups of glowing ancient artifacts being pulled from the silt, it's like bridging a millennia-old gap. Now, you might be asking yourself, why does this whole narrative feel so real, so incredibly epic? Well, it's entirely by design. The creators essentially treated this myth like a Hollywood cinematic documentary. They used ultra-realistic human models, an epic atmosphere, and technical tricks like shallow depth of field and volumetric lighting. That's what gives those underwater ruins their ethereal glow. Throw in some dramatic shadows and a really emotional mystery tone, and suddenly, you're not just hearing a story. You're literally feeling every single moment of the tragedy. Which brings us to this final, haunting look at Atlantis, resting silently in the depths of the ocean.
We've seen its spectacular rise, its devastating fall, and its modern rediscovery. But as we stare into that dark, watery abyss, we really have to ask ourselves, what other secrets are still out there? What other ancient maps or glowing artifacts are just waiting in the dark, completely buried beneath the ocean, waiting for someone to find them? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.